Hello YouTube, this is Goddard Radio Mosky here again with another beer review for you today. Now for this one we're going to do another Scottish beer, and this is a brewery that I haven't actually put a video up for yet. I did film another review from this brewery, but the video kind of screwed up a wee bit, so I need to edit that and get the sound back in sync. But today we're going to go to the Isle of Arran Brewery and take a look at their blonde beer, and I've heard very good things about this beer. My flatmate really loves this one, so I'm interested to do this review for you today. But as is usual with my beer reviews, I'll just take you through a little bit of a history of the brewery, and I'll also tell you a little bit about the local area as well, as I like to do with the Scottish ones, just for the benefit of those of you watching outside of Scotland, of course. But as I always say, if you are simply just interested in the tasting of this beer, then feel free to go towards the last part of the video and you will catch that particular segment. But as I mentioned, just so those of you outside of the country know exactly where we're talking about here, I always describe Scotland as looking like a monster's head, if you like, and on the back of the neck you have the city of Glasgow, the largest city in the country. Just to the north of this you have the Mull of Kintyre that kind of comes out and then goes down, and then below Glasgow you've got the Ayrshire coast, very famous of course for Rabbie Burns. But just in between this little Kintyre peninsula and the Ayrshire coast you have the little ovular island, which is the Isle of Arran there. It's meant to be really nice, I need to go and visit it. But the island only has a population of about 5,000 people, but it's been inhabited since the early Neolithic period, and apparently it was first colonised by the Gaels from Ireland, but it was a religious hub during their occupation of the island. Scottish and Irish people are very culturally linked, for those of you who don't know. But during the Viking Age, Arran became the property of the Norwegian crown, but was formerly absorbed by the Scottish crown in the 13th century. And in the 19th century, the Highland clearances led to significant depopulation of the island and basically the end of Gaelic-speaking life. The Highland clearances, for those of you who don't know, really brought about the end of the clan system in Scotland, and it was really a British influenced thing because the clans and the Scottish population largely did not support the union with England. And there was the Jacobite Revolution that culminated this in the Battle of Culloden, where Charles Edward Stuart tried to reclaim the Scottish throne as an independent entity. But the acts went as far, they put in political acts after this, and the political acts went as far as banning the wearing of tartans and kilts. And basically though, if you talk about the Highland clearances, it was an agricultural revolution from crop farming to sheep farming, and much of the population was moved to the coastal areas to fish, and many also emigrated to the Commonwealth nations. So this is why you've got a lot of Scots descended in America, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, all of this sort of thing. That's why a lot of Scottish people left, because there was this sort of it's not quite a persecution, if you like, but the British government really tried to stamp their authority in Scotland once the Union was signed. But to move on a little bit to tell you about the brewery history itself, that's the sort of history of the local area, if you like. This is one of the more established Scottish craft breweries, and it's gained a bit more prominence with the recent boom we've had in Scottish craft brewing. The brewery is located on the east of the island near Brodick Castle, and it has views of Brodick Bay and Goatfell Mountain, and they describe themselves as a high-tech microbrewery, but they say that they use the finest ingredients and the island's water to create their beer, which will give it a bit of a unique taste, no doubt. But Arran also has one whisky distillery. I thought there was more than this, but there is only one, and it's called the Arran Distillery. Many of those, I've had good feedback about that when I tell people about the whisky distilleries as well. But the brewery opened to full production back in February 2000, so it's actually one of the more older modern Scottish craft breweries, if you like. But they opened in February 2000 under Richard and Elizabeth Roberts, and in the 6 years prior to opening, Richard had been taking brewing courses, and he'd worked in a number of breweries while putting together the concept for his Arran Brewery. But the brewery apparently has a capacity of 20 barrels, and it operates using equipment purchased from the defunct Tipsy Road Town brew pub in St Helier in Jersey, down in the Channel Islands. But the brewery is a 2-floor building, and the mash tun is on the upper floor, and it facilitates the runoff into a steam heated copper kettle below with a valentine which controls the flow runoff by gravity, and apparently this is a very unique feature of the brewery. But they also have their own bottling line which can support 5 barrels in one run. Now in 2008 the brewery went into administration, and it was purchased by the Glasgow based marketing firm Management Services International, MMSI, and they've heavily invested in the brewery, sorry I'm struggling to speak, and they've increased staff numbers, capacity, and they're also facilitating the introduction of a number of new beers here. But this is actually a very decorated brewery. You can go on the brewery website, which you'll find the link for in the description, and it has a list of all the different awards that they've won. But just to give you a few of them, the Arran Dark won awards in 2012 at the World Beer Awards, and they've also won various awards at the International Beer Challenge and SIBA festivals this year, the Scottish International Brewing Association, I believe that stands for. But the brewery has a visitor centre and a shop. You get daily tours at 2 PM where they basically walk you through the brewery, and you can follow the process of brewing the beer with a complimentary tasting at the end. And this is another brewery that are actually looking to their fans to invest in the shareholding programme that they have. They're looking to expand their capacity. A similar thing to what Brewdog are doing actually with their Equity for Punk scheme. But as I say, this is a brewery that has gained a lot more prominence with the recent boom in Scottish craft brewing that we had. So I'm really looking forward to trying this one for you today. But their other beers include the Gid Ale, which is an amber ale, of course, that just being the Scottish word for good. They've got Clyde Puffer, which is a stout. Fireside, which is their winter seasonal. This is a dark malty beer. We have Red Squirrel, which is described as a session ale, and this is similar to what the Cairngorm Brewery do actually. Their proceeds go to helping red squirrel conservation for this one. They have Milestone, which is a dark amber ale, Sunset, which is a summer ale, and also Brewery Dug IPA. This was the one that my video got a bit screwed up for. But they also have their older range of beers. They just have the one that's called the Arran Ale, which is a fruity, malty amber ale. They have Dark, which is a Scottish heavy ale, the Blonde, which is this one, of course, the Golden Ale, and there's also Ab Blonde, which has more citrus to it added. But let's get on to the actual tasting of this beer itself. I'll just bring up the camera and let you have a little look here at the artwork on the bottle here. This is quite a nice one. It's got a nice bit of Scottish scenery there. I'm guessing that's just a sort of inward look at the Isle of Arran there. They've just painted that on here. But this is a 5% golden ale from what I understand. But it's a really nice looking beer actually. I couldn't find a hop profile on this one, so maybe that's something they should look at adding to their website here. And it's just a plain bottle cap on this one here. But as I say, it's a 5% golden ale. So let's get this guy out and get on with the tasting here. Well, maybe I could describe this as a blonde beer as well, but it's a 5% ABV one anyway. So let's get this guy out and get on with the tasting here. There we are. It's not bubbling up at all. A nice little bit of smoke as we open it up. Some carbonation rushing to the top of the bottle there. But let's get this guy out and get on with it. As I say, my flatmate tells me this is a really, really beautiful beer, so I'm quite interested to see what this one's like. I'll just sugar it up a bit and try and get a bit more head on this one here. The other one that I did was really had a hell of a lot of head came out on it there. But let's just sit this guy back down and we'll get on with the tasting here. Yeah, as you can see, it's a really, really beautiful golden looking beer here. I'll just turn the light on so you can see that a bit better, bring up the camera there. But yeah, as you can see, it's a really nice sort of bright looking orangey golden amber colour here. There's a lot, not so much carbonation actually, there's a lot of big bubbles coming up, but usually you expect a bit more of an attack when you have the little smaller bubbles here. You've got just a half finger of head. It's quite foamy, but there are some big bubbles in there. It's quite a frothy head more than anything, to be honest, but it's a really nice looking beer, a beautiful golden amber colour as you can see. I'll just turn that light back off there for you just now. But yeah, it looks really, really nice, I have to say. And so let's give this one a smell. Yeah, it's got a nice sort of a gardeny aroma to it. It's quite grassy. But yeah, it's quite, it's not mild aroma, it's kind of mid. It's not so pungent, but it's somewhere in the middle between being mild and pungent, I would say. But yeah, you've got some nice citrusy fruits in there, and there's a good bit of floral and grassy character as well. But there's also, I think there's also some sort of bready and biscuity malts in this one. It's a really nice smelling beer, this one actually. A nice sort of citrusy garden feel to this one. But let's give this guy a taste. I'm looking forward to trying this one. As I say, I heard very good things about this one. Now that's a nice one. Quite a bitterness on the opening there, I have to say. Yeah, it's opening up with a sort of citrusy bitterness, and this is followed by the sort of floral and grassy character there, and the bready malts I think are coming in just a little bit after that. Yeah, you're opening up definitely with that sort of citrusy hoppy bitterness there, and this is followed by, I'm not sure if it's quite followed by or if it's complemented by, but you have the nice sort of grassy and floral elements in there as well. You're getting some sort of bready malts coming out in the middle, but it almost has a taste of sort of spiced wheat as well. There's definitely a little element of spice to this one, I would say. On the finish, you're getting a nice sort of hoppy bitterness coming out again. It's a lot less pungent, if you like, than the start, but it comes out and it's got that just nice underlying hoppy bitterness that lingers in the aftertaste, and you've got a little bit of citrus and gardeny floral character on top of that. This is a good one, I have to say. Definitely a really nice tasting beer. In terms of the mouthfeel for this one, it's very, very light. I would describe this as a light to mid-bodied beer, and it's very quite smooth actually. It's very crisp, I would say. The carbonation complements the sort of citrusy bitterness quite well. But yeah, very light-bodied, very drinkable. It's a good session ale actually. This is one that you can drink and have a few of these if you're out at the pub or whatever. This is a summer beer, to be honest with you. I would describe this as being a good summer's day beer. Something, when it's chilled like this, it's really, really nice, I have to say. But yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel as well, there's just a slight dry character to this one throughout, but it complements it quite well. As I said, with the tasting part of this, you're getting that nice citrusy bitterness coming in with the floral and grassy character. Then you're getting a little bit of malt, but just a wee bit, I think, of spiced wheat as well, and then the hoppy bitterness comes back just a little bit on the aftertaste and lingers there. A really nice beer, I would say, and as I was saying, this is a really, really good one, I think, for as a summer session ale, if you like. Really nice sort of mix between the floral and citrusy elements, and it has that just little bit of spiced wheat in there, I think, that makes it a little bit unique. But yeah, this is a good one. I mean, I would say definitely give this a try if you get the chance. It's quite widely available in Scotland, actually. I'm not sure how widely available it is outside of Scotland, of course, but definitely check out the Isle of Arran Brewery if you get a chance. Like I said earlier in the video, you can find the link to the brewery website in the video description there, so be sure to check it out if you are interested. And they offer tours of the brewery, which is always quite interesting. Hopefully I can get out there and have a little tour of the whiskey distillery and of course of the beer brewery as well. But as I always say, I hope this video review has been informative for you. This is another good Scottish craft brewery that I've discovered, and hopefully I can get the other video fixed for you and get that put up soon as well. It was the Brewery Dug IPA I did for that one, so you should see that appearing in the very near future, hopefully. But thanks again for watching my beer reviews. Please let me know in the comments section your own thoughts on this beer if you've had it. Always interesting to hear that, as I say. Getting a little bit of gas from this one. It's a lot more carbonated when it sneaks up on you a little bit. But thanks again for watching my beer reviews. Please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff, and I'll be back soon with another beer review. Cheers.